You know, I don't think I've talked about it in the last couple of videos, but not too long ago I was able to get an adjustable desk that I can use to work on while I'm standing or sitting, adjusting to any height I need for whatever I might need to be doing. It's great for building things on. I used it for wrapping presents a month ago, and it's also helped me shoot the new videos that I'm making because it allows me to move this desk all around the room and just change the view a little bit. On future videos you'll see it more, but it's not just me sitting in my chair at my desk with the Pocket 3 camera on my desk pointed at me and talking at it. This allows me to put the camera on a tripod and take it around the room, and yeah, this is pretty cool. Wah, 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 wah. Hello vinyl community, this is Rich at Embarrassment of Riches, and I wanted to make a short video and talk about something that I did for my collection most recently. I had found that for a few years I would get by with just having some cardboard cutouts with a letter on them in my collection to denote alphabetically where my music is. You know, when you only have a couple of hundred records, I could know on sight from across the room the exact record, walk up to it, point it, touch it, and that would be the one I was talking about. But as my collection has grown and now it's on multiple shelves in multiple parts of this room and the rest of the house, there's, yeah, the wife doesn't love that. But I had always been just a little bit jealous of people who were so organized that they had the nice looking plastic tabs with the really nice letters on it to denote the album or the artist in their collection. And now that I've got nearly 3,000 records, I think, it was far beyond time that I finally did the same thing myself. Seriously. So with all that in mind, I did go on Amazon and tried to find the best solution for my particular needs in this problem. And I did find some pretty nicely made plastic dividers. I didn't want anything too solid. That didn't make any sense. That would take up as much space as another record in there. But these are from Karstens Records, and they're well enough made. And I also did settle on some adhesive letters. There were far too fucking many fonts and stickers to be choosing from, but I did settle on these. They did have a little bit of limitations that I found out later, but they are good enough for this purpose right now. And this whole process took way longer than I expected to. I just did not account for how long it would take to painstakingly do one letter at a time with my X-Acto knife on the tab here, make sure it was in a straight line. Try to make sure that they were spaced. You know, the kerning was excellent. I did all I could, and I just want to see if anybody else has done something like this or how they did theirs. Because, yeah, the cardboard got to looking pretty tired. This is going to be in the video. You'll see some of that. I don't like when people write on Sharpie on theirs. That looks kind of gnarly to me. Whatever floats your boat, but that shit isn't going to fly with my stuff. And I did take some video clips throughout the journey of getting this thing done because it did take a long time. But I'm glad that I finally got it done. I'm glad I did it. And everyone seems to agree that it looks much better. So I would be interested in hearing from anybody else in the vinyl community who had done this sort of thing when they finally decided to do it. I broke down and finally just figured out that if I have an artist that I have more than 5 albums from, they've earned their own divider. And that led me to having all these ones. There's a few that I skipped just out of laziness and figured I would get to it eventually. And I will. I might. But yeah, the 5 album rule is kind of what I stuck to, and I'm glad I did that because it kept me from having just too many dividers, just overloaded, you know, with them. But there are quite a few artists that I do have that many records from and more. And it just looks a lot cleaner now, and I'm no longer really fumbling through things when I'm looking for them. Yes, I'm always interested in looking at other people's collections and seeing how they organize, what deserves a tab if it's not just A, B, C, D on down the line. And yeah, I'm pretty excited that this is finally done to my liking for the moment. I'm not going to really go too much further into a lot of the other separations. So yeah, I think this really looks great. It's definitely an improvement over what I had been working with for years on my shelves. It started to look kind of raggedy to have that cardboard on there, and that's just me. Other people do things their own way. And this will serve until we get our house built. We're planning on having a new house built on some property that we got a couple of years ago. And you know, if the world doesn't explode in the next couple of years, we might have our brand new house, and in there will be my library and my record room, where I will have shelves built into the wall, and everything will be perfectly clean and finally in super great order, all my stuff together at once. One thing I have really started to consider now that I do have this many, and I start to really understand why other people have done it, is separating their collection by genre. I've always been a stickler for alphabetical and then chronological. And if the 12-inch single came out before that particular album, it goes before there in the fucking collection, because that's the only right way to do it. Anyway, I do have enough classic hip hop and classic reggae that I'm really considering separating them from the rest of the collection to be easier to go through and grab what I want. I really see the wisdom in people that have done that. I had not really considered it to this point, but now that I'm taking a lot longer to search through and find the exact record I want, I think if I do my classic reggae and my classic hip hop, it will not be a problem, because once I pull them out of here, it's probably only a couple of hundred of each, but it's a lot less daunting to go through 200 than it is 3,000. So that is something that I probably will do after we move, because I'm kind of happy mostly with the way things are now with my shelves. Anyway, I did put the clips together and made a little montage. Hopefully it's entertaining. Either way, it's here, and I hope everybody enjoys, and I'm interested in hearing how you've collected yours and how you collate yours, how you put yours together, what your dividers look like. I'm really interested because I love seeing things in the vinyl community, and I'm glad to be here. So thanks for coming by, and enjoy. Or endure. Whatever you gotta do, man. Hey everybody, so this is what my shelves used to look like when I had them raggedy-ass cardboard dividers in there. I think I made them in about 2016. So yeah, I'm glad to see them gone. So I actually found it a bit easier after some trial and error to triage the letters below the tab before I would put them on so I could space them correctly, like you see there with the BDP. And here is a stack that shows me about halfway through, and this took many, many hours over several days to even get to this point. And at this point, I am about at the middle of the shelves, and everything is looking really neat and nice. And you get a view there at the bottom pretty soon of some of the gnarly cardboard dividers left over, especially the Q there, because I don't have enough Queen or Queens of the Stone Age to have a divider for them yet. But the work continues. And there it is, the last divider to go in, ZZ Top. This thing took forever to complete, but I'm very happy to see all these done and hope everybody stuck around and enjoyed the video. Fucking can't remember what I was talking about.